And we're joined by Ashley Ramsay, who used to be the BC United candidate in the riding of Kelowna Mission, but boy, things changed. So take us through it. You know, when you first heard that the party leadership was saying, no, we're withdrawing our candidates, your world must have been spinning.
Yeah, it was definitely sudden and out of the blue without any consultation. And so, I think people can look up online how that all went down. There's a lot of information about that. So a lot of us have been spending the last few days sort of getting over that, figure out what the next steps are for our ridings, because this is a riding by riding election, and then taking the step forward to the next part of the journey.
Okay,
Or not.
when it was first announced, it sounded like the leadership of what was BC United in the election, and the Conservatives were kind of going to take a look at each riding and say which candidate would be theirs. And yet there seems to be a big lag time in hearing even where they want to go, right?
Sure. So a lot of us did reach out to the party. We were encouraged to do so, and I was one of those people, as well as all the other Okanagan candidates and many of the candidates. And then we were told that they would look at the best candidate for the riding by riding. We were given a 3-day window, and by Wednesday last week, I'd made my mind up because I had no call and I wanted to move on. And I felt
you made your mind up that
that
you wouldn't run as a Conservative?
After listening to my constituents and my team and looking at the data that we had on the riding and what they needed and looking at my own values, I decided against.
Right. So you're not going to run. So you fold up your tent then, right? You're not going to run for the Conservatives, but no, you're going to run.
No, I'm doing it.
Okay. Tell me about the thought process there.
Sure. So my thought process is part data, part heart. And I think for me, having lived here for nearly 30 years on and off, having built a big company here, it was always about jobs for me and my husband when we started our business to create an economy here. So it's always come from a sense of service for me. So part heart there, service. Listening to my constituents, looking at the data that we had collected of where people were going to land their vote. Then looking at the riding itself and the historical behavior of the riding in terms of voting. We've typically had a little bit Green, a little bit NDP, and a lot BC Liberal. So we have a very centrist landing riding that now has nowhere to land. And we don't have a Green candidate. And we have an NDP government that was commenced by, of course, Horgan, and now we have an EB-NDP, which is quite far left, and I think people are disenfranchised there by the decriminalization, the drug use on the streets, and just the NDP not really following through on their promises. So
it does seem to me that going into an election without party affiliation seems like a real long shot.
Sure, I would disagree with that today because we actually have, I think there will be 18 candidates running across the province. And if you look back to the last time the independents won, the Greens actually helped the NDP take a majority. So here's a situation where in our particular riding, it should just be the best candidate because if I'm in the legislature, I'm still taking a vote away from the NDP government and I can still decide at that point to negotiate with the BC Conservatives, if that's an option, to get in the tent to help, or we can form the balance of power and actually help negotiate between the two parties to help balance things out.
Or even, I suppose,
It's amazing.
If the Conservatives got up to something that struck you as way out of line, you could even go the other way.
100%. And there are approximately 5 or 6 of these current independents who have experience. Mike Bernier, Tom Spitka. There are experienced good bench strength in our team of independents. Right. And all we need is 2 to form a party. Discussions of a party, they're not on the table right now. Everybody's decided to go at it independent with their own personal take on their riding. And for me, that's a center vote for Kelowna Mission. We have families with, I value human rights, basic human rights, inclusivity, diversity for women, for all people, for human beings, and climate change. Like, I'm very concerned about discussions around nuclear power. I'm just, and then what's been really interesting is we have candidates that have left the BC Conservatives. One of them is local, who is now getting behind my campaign. So I am now becoming the Ashley tent for a lot of diverse voices.
So a business-minded person who does think that we need to focus on climate change, That sets you apart from the Conservatives.
100%. I mean, the opportunities that I have seen in technology, even in this community, we have companies that are developing technology right now that can help mitigate a lot of these issues we're having in fire, for instance. And for me, it's like, my gosh, like we got to support that. And that's all happening right here, right?
So there I was saying, an independent, it seems like a long shot, but you're saying there's the promise here maybe of a balance of power scenario.
You know what? Kelowna Mission is owed the democratic right to make a choice that's balanced. And right now, they don't have a place to land that's going to be defending of what we need specifically in that riding, and that's who I want to be. I will bring the Greens, I will bring the NDPs, and I will bring the centre vote, and I will listen, and I'm able to do that and balance that out.
Did you even give it any thought to saying, okay, I'll be a Conservative candidate? Did you mull that over?
We sent in a letter of interest at the very beginning, but there was a pretty disturbing podcast that was come out over the weekend after we did that was hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
In terms of where they're at.
You just couldn't be that.
No.
Right.
I started a company here full of diverse voices and human beings, and that's where my heart is. And I'm here to defend people of all walks of life.
Say what you want about it. It is very interesting times in BC politics, isn't it?
And I think too, economic policy is pretty big right now. Like I think in terms of my experience in the business community, some of the things that we can do really quickly, I know I can be the strong voice for. So, they implemented an increase to minimum wage. Well, let's get in there and give that money back to give them a breath, right? Just a quick tax credit or something. And then we can, remove red tape quickly. There's so many ideas that I have around the business community too, which I think is really useful. So, yeah.
Look forward to hearing more of that.
Thank you.
And good luck in the campaign. And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.